Hi, so today we're joined by a very good friend of mine, Silvia, called Dashing, Silvia Eldawi, who I've known for 17 years now, Silvia, isn't it?
Showing our age now.
We are.
No, we went to school together, didn't we?
Yeah, for sure. You would have been a couple of years above me though, wouldn't you?
No, hold on. What year were you born?
79.
So was I.
Oh, okay, cool. So Silvia, we've known each other for 17 years, haven't we?
We sure have.
Sylvia's a very, very good friend of mine. And Silvia has been an expert in the property market for her whole career, done many different roles on senior levels. And a few years ago now, relocated to Dubai to ride that boom. So today, Silvia is here to talk about the market in Dubai, the property purchase market, which Synergy have been heavily involved in over the years. And quite importantly, the market in Dubai now.
Oh gosh, I fled a war zone. No, I'm only joking. But I definitely didn't expect to be back in London so soon. To be fair, I've been there for 9 years. I'm kind of talking like I've written it off already, which I haven't.
Absolutely. We can touch base more on that later on. So, how did we meet, Silvia? And how have we worked together?
It was Steve Cogan.
Correct.
What did you have to do with Steve?
I met Steve through Christian.
Christian.
He was a friend of mine and Steve's, and Christian met Steve in Thailand when I was out there training.
That's right, you were my type.
Yeah, I was training out there, and then I got a knock on the door, and there was Steve. He goes, "Oh, I'm friends of Christian. He wants me to show you around." So that's how I met Steve, and he introduced us, didn't he?
Yeah, but why did he introduce us? What were you doing back at that time?
I think I was just doing international payments.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was new. I was like maybe 2 years into my career at the time.
Maybe you just thought we'd get on.
Maybe had some referrals or something like that. And
we did get on, didn't we?
We did. So tell us about the Golden Nuggets in Dubai, your podcast with 30,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah, so it was never part of the plan, but I guess best businesses come out of something rather than, dedicated focus to it. So it was a natural progression because I wanted to publicize something which I thought was going to be my main business. And I thought, how do I draw attention to it? I know, I'll put on a podcast. I'll invite some guests, I'll take the snippets and so on. But I actually enjoyed doing that more than I enjoyed what was supposed to be the main business. And then someone said to me, like, if you don't start making money out of this podcast, then you're going to go broke, effectively. You've got to monetize.
You've had all the big boys on your podcast.
So I've had all the big boys on, and they're all sponsored. And I've had brand sponsors, I've had individual sponsors, because as we're doing now, content is everything. And we briefly touched on this conversation before. I was in Terry's office and I was like, you getting on the phones, you smashing the phones. And he was like, no, we don't do that anymore.
We don't. No.
What do we do? Content. We do outreach, LinkedIn, and so on.
Don't tell everyone our secrets how we do it.
We won't spill the secret sauce, but it is more about relationship building. And I actually know someone who does all their business development. They've got a CRM company. They don't do a single pitch, but what they do is they invite decision maker onto their podcast.
Oh, right, okay.
And so that's how everybody wants to be on a podcast. Why? Because everyone's favorite subject is guess who? Themselves.
Yeah.
So you call someone on, we only spoke about this yesterday. I just called him up yesterday for some FX advice. But yeah, so podcast is an easy way of just being yourself, not hard selling, but just getting people to get a flavor for what you do and who you are. And then you can just turn it into bite-sized nuggets, golden nuggets, and repurpose content for days and days. The other thing that I've realized as well, which, your marketing team will know more about this than I do, but before you used to Google everything.
Yeah.
Now, everyone's ChatGPTing everything.
Or Claude.
You very rarely Google anything. So you've got to now start as a business person, as a brand, a personal brand, whatever you're selling or whatever you're trying to get out there, you have to work out, how am I going to appear on Claude? How am I going to appear in people's answers or search queries on ChatGPT? We used to spend a lot of money on Google ads or SEO optimization. You don't really hear about that now. It's more about search engine or chat engine optimization.
Paid ads and things like that, yeah.
So it's about getting, we're going to do this episode. Had you come on my show...
When do I get the invite for that, by the way?
Well, we're going to be launching a studio here in glorious city of London.
Is that because you're not going back to Dubai?
I'm a bit of an opportunist, so there's definitely a gap in the market.
You can rent one of our rooms out if you like. You can see how hospitable they are.
So it's all about being seen where your customers are asking questions.
I think as well, it's all about how people take content. Content is something that we've been pushing on a lot more the last sort of 12 months, and it's definitely done a lot for us. For us, it's not just about reaching clients; it's about reaching different providers and different banks and partners.
B2B, yeah.
Yeah, we're selling to businesses, or we're working with businesses more than selling. But obviously, we need partners to help us have that product to provide to our clients. And we found now that they're coming to us now because they know who we are. We've been around since 2012, and we do well, but it's making that noise. And partnerships seem so much easier now to make via content than picking up a phone or I'd like to speak to someone about partnering for referrals or something like that, or can I speak to someone talk to them about the products we can offer your business. They see your content and they're like, they can straight away relate to it. But also as well, what we find is they can see the people behind the business. They get to know you. We're warts and all here. We don't put on a stand on attention for anyone. We just are unapologetically ourselves, and people seem to buy into that. Especially what we've done with women empowerment at Synergy Exchange. You remember what it was like before the office before you'd come in. You'd come in and you'd see rows and rows of young lads standing up cold calling power hours. And that's
what's it called? Boiler room.
It was very boiler room talk, but that's 98%. That's nearly 100% of this straight FX market these days. It's everyone in there. They're not getting the support.
Is it still quite a male-dominated?
It is. But the difference is like we work with a really good recruiter called Mitch. We'll drop his link in the comments down here.
Check you out. Look at professional podcast.
Hey, man, I'm learning. I'm with a professional now. And he tells me a lot in the market is how it is. You're getting these young guys and girls, mainly guys, in giving them a script and just standing with a whip saying you got to make 250 calls a day. You got to stand up between these times. And the market's changed. Like everybody's doing it. Everybody's selling on a rate. Oh, I can beat your rate. And it's just boring. We hear it all the time. You've got to have more products now, and you've got to be relatable. And and you have to give your team and the tools and the support to go and get clients, because the market's changed. And we've got to change subject here a little bit, but it's still very relevant.
No, and it's an important conversation to be had, because a stark contrast that I've witnessed between the UK and the UAE is everything, all business, all introductions, all connections over there are done on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you tell me, but WhatsApp's kind of like a no-go zone professionally. It's more...
It's funny you should say that. So, because a lot of our solutions are based around a whole solution, whether that be international payments, it's generally wrapped in with some kind of finance. And when we're building a solution, there's a lot of information that needs to change hands. Not just documentation, but just I need to know this, I need to know that. And we do a lot of that by WhatsApp groups. All of our
B2B is WhatsApp groups.
Yeah, it is. We do, because it's B2B, but it's still person to person. You're dealing with the finance director, and you'll be dealing with an underwriter somewhere, and then we've got our own internal finance admin that needs to collate it all, package it all up, structure it, put it out to tender. When you've got a WhatsApp, boom, boom, it's done. So,
but the other thing you can have, and not many people know this, but back in the days, real estate agents. Sorry, I forget the terminology. Estate agents. You'd walk past an estate agent. They'd have all their windows display.
Yeah.
There'll be their properties for sale and for rent displayed in the window. That was your shop window. They'd have the number on the outside, the email address just in case someone's driving by, and they've got their branding. Now, that same shop window is your WhatsApp for Business profile. So you can have a catalogue there, you can have your opening times, you can have your email address, you can have your...
So they've moved on to that even more though, more than on a website now then?
That is basically
their shop front. That's their shop
your
front.
Mini website. And especially when someone's flicking over your contact to someone else, they can already see who you are, what you do, all your contact details. So I'd say I'd like to if there's a couple of things I'd like to do in London, is get people over to WhatsApp for Business. Maybe I should speak to WhatsApp and get them to sponsor.
Do you know, you're the one, all those years ago, you sent me the link to WhatsApp and saying there's going to be no more texting, it's all going to be WhatsApp.
Was that me?
You sent that to me,
Oh,
yeah.
see, I'm such a forward thinker.
You are. So let's talk about the Dubai property market right now, because that's affecting you and it's going to affect us, because we do work with a lot of people from the UK and around the world that have, had that great big move over to Dubai. I'm a resident in Dubai myself, as you know. We've had conversations about you working with us over there as well, what you do, but, with the business that I have over there. But things are changing now. So, where's the property market? Do you see it out there, specifically the property market, in the next sort of 6 to 12 months? Because it affects you, and it does affect me and a lot of people that might be watching this.
Look, I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. The current geopolitical conflict is going to have a ripple effect that will extend probably 12 to 18 months minimum. Even if, depending on when you're listening to this, things might have escalated or de-escalated.
Yeah.
Irrespective, even if the war or conflict stops tomorrow, the residual impact of what's already happened, that kind of uncertainty of the property market, property prices, rental prices, does my investment make sense? Because we've just come off we're at the tail end of some fantastic years. People have made so much money when it comes to the returns have been superb, the capital appreciation
Flips have been great.
Superb. Flips have been, supply's been steady from the developers. Like they've seen this opportunity, they've seen the appetite, and they've just been delivering, and that's come to a screeching halt right now. And it's still too soon to say this is the impact on property prices. We do know as of today that the Dubai Real Estate Index on the UAE Stock Exchange, or whatever the equivalent is, has dropped by 31%. But that doesn't necessarily, and that's the stocks of some the biggest real estate companies. People have been making content about this, so I'm not going to claim that I've come up with this, but they're giving the comparison of, look, if the Tesla stock goes down by 20%, doesn't mean you can walk into a Tesla showroom and get 20% off the
sure.
So, but there's very much a let's wait and see before we make any moves. And I'm still very much in contact with the entire community, the real estate community, and they are inundated with buyers, but buyers are looking for distressed deals. Yeah. And there's just not enough, or there's very few. Look, in a typical market, normal day,
it hasn't rippled through just yet.
Like people would rather just say, oh no, sod this, I'm going to take my property off the market, or actually maybe I'll rent it. But then when they put it on the rental market, they might realize that they won't get the rent that they expected. Yeah. So we're not going to see the effect until...
It's an interesting one, because one of my long-term friends, I've known him since I was 13. He owns a number of entertainment venues around London, and he's currently sitting on about 3 million quid waiting to buy Dubai property at the moment. He's been buying some, and he's got, over the next sort of 6-8 months. Before this happened, he said to me, okay, I'm going to be doing about 3 million quid over the next 6 to 8 months. And
has he deployed it yet?
No.
Okay.
He's already deployed quite a bit, but this is this year, another 3 he's going to do. So I'm going to be catching up with him to see what his thoughts are. But I think there's going to be some distress deals going on out there. Like there's always an opportunity, right, when something like this happens.
But it's just how low can it go? And then the thing is,
there's a song about that, isn't there?
Yeah, how low can you go? The thing is, it's not just a Dubai problem. It's not just a UAE problem. And you'll know this better than I do, but what's the FX market doing right now? This is going to turn into a US stock market collapse. This is not financial advice. Housing market the mortgage rates are going up.
Yeah.
Housing market's going to suffer. That's going to ripple on to here. Mortgage rates are going to go up. There's going to be, what do they call it in the US? Foreclosures.
Yeah, foreclosures, yeah.
We're going to have repossessions here. So there's deals to be picked up everywhere. There's going to be distress everywhere. Oh, we're entering into World War III, for God's sake. These are the last few normal days of our lives. Oil's going to go through the roof in a minute.
Yeah.
It's already above $100 a barrel. And then that has a ripple effect on everything.
Yeah.
Your Temu products aren't going to get delivered on time. No. It's going to be more expensive because to pay for shipping and petrol and
So you would say at the moment investors in Dubai are sort of holding fire.
well, no, they're kind of jumping on all the agents to find out what the opportunities are. But all the
They're not
agents
quite
are
there yet.
we don't have anything yet. And guess what? If there was such a fantastic opportunity, they're probably going to buy it themselves, right? Because real estate agents in Dubai have made some tremendous commissions these last couple of years.
Yeah.
So they've got the money. Or if they can't buy it themselves, then their CEO might buy it, or someone in their immediate family.
Right.
Or so
If there's a deal there, why broker it to someone else? You just take it yourself, right? Okay, so like myself, you spent a lot of time in Dubai. Well, you live there.
Yeah.
You live there. Yeah. So I mean, look, everyone's got to think about where they sit with what's going on at the moment in the Middle East. We're all just in the right now renewing we've got to do our bits and pieces. It's basically the ins and outs of it. I don't deal with it, but we obviously have a company there that we have to renew this, renew that, and we've been getting our fees through for that. And I'm like, well, straight away you can cut that in half. Do you know what I mean? So,
but there's an opportunity with every crisis. There's an opportunity, because I know a lot of people who are trying to move money.
Yeah.
Either they've made the decision, we're moving back home, or we're going to go to Thailand for a bit, or we're going to go Cyprus for a bit, and they need to transfer their money. And I don't think it's as easy right now, because they're trying to kind of ensure that there's capital flight,
capital adequacy.
capital adequacy.
I think that's the term for it. I mean, that's definitely a term. I don't know if that's a term
Is that to prevent from a bank run, essentially, or is a bank run different?
Capital adequacy shows that you have the capital to run a situation or a business as you're running it, so it's not insolvent. But basically, it's one of those things like Dubai. This is the thing I've always concerned me about keeping money in Dubai is what something goes wrong, or what if we fall out. People are having that issue out there right now, right?
I don't know if they're blocking anyone from. Again, it's too early, but I think there's going to be regular daily limits that you can withdraw or move, just from a kind of security perspective. But they're not going to stop you from moving your money. I can't see that happening, and if they do, that would be very problematic reputationally. But I did hear that there's a big gold market in Dubai, obviously.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Now, people that are leaving are selling their gold at below spot price, like $30 below spot price, and then they're converting that because they can't take it on a plane or take it wherever they're going to, because then they might have to pay tax on it or duty, or I don't know, what is it you pay on gold?
There's many names for it.
So they're selling it and then they're buying Bitcoin. So that's a popular transition. So that actually the price of Bitcoin these last couple of days has gone up.
Yeah, it's crazy what's going on in Dubai. I'm not in the Middle East, but we're focusing on Dubai because we're both residents there. You live there, I'm there a fair bit of time. Do a lot of business there. Dubai is that place where, I always found that everybody is winners. Everyone's winners there. The mentality there, the culture that it breeds out there just makes you want to not only work hard,
better yourself.
Yeah. When I was in Dubai was in there mate last night, I was there for a month.
You were loving life.
I know, I was up in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I was straight down the gym, right? In the gym every single day, working out harder. I was a bit of a sunbathe, working UK hours, and then bang out, meetings. Everybody's pro business there, and and it's so safe there, and it's that beautiful metropolis, and I think it's run so well.
Yeah.
I mean, look, everyone's got their own opinions about it, right? So I mean,
but
really,
they do feel a lot of hatred coming from Brits that can't make it to Dubai. Do you know what I mean? There is that. You know what I mean? There is that.
I've had a lot of that as well. It's like, why are you not there then? Well, I could be there, but I've got a life here, and I'm committed to UK businesses. Could I just cut and run and stayed out in Dubai and benefited all the benefits from that? Yeah, I could do, but it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
I hope so anyway. And but there is a lot of hate on people that are out in Dubai, and I think, I'm just going to say it, I think it's jealousy a lot of the time.
Of course it is. Of course it is, because nobody even you'll have seen this in Dubai. No one doing better than you is gonna discourage you or gonna put you down. So everyone that's talking shit is because they either can't do it or won't do it, and they resent you for doing it. So
I remember the conversation we had. You FaceTimed me. You're on a bus going home, The mad things that I remember.
Your memory.
I know.
You're like an elephant.
My long-term, my short-term memory is horrendous. But it was a rainy day. You FaceTime her. You're on a bus, and you said, "Terry, I'm going to Dubai. I'm never going to meet the man of my dreams in the UK. I've done everything here. I'm going to Dubai." And I
didn't meet him there either, by the way. But anyway.
But honestly, I've seen the change in you. I mean, I've always had a lot of admiration for you, and you're a very valued friend of mine. And commercially, like, you're fantastic. You're a powerhouse woman in business. But I've seen like the growth in you in so many ways. I have, because you've been around. You've just been around in an area that I've seen you thrive. And with that, you were involved in that business that didn't quite work out. And that's the year before last.
Well, it didn't quite work out for me, but it's still going on. But,
the year before last year, I come out and I saw you then, didn't I? And that's when you told me that just happened, and you were looking for your next opportunity. Yeah. And then suddenly, I'm like, there's this
popping up everywhere.
And you know what? This podcast and this podcast. Listen, we've got our little podcast here that's going to grow. But I've seen the golden nuggets. It's just awesome, and you've never done that before, and how the ease that you just went into that presenter role, and the kind of bodies you're getting in there. Like you've got the top names in there. Tell us a little bit how you met them and how that come about.
So I started off with one season, which is 8 episodes, and I decided, right, we're going to have a show. We're going to talk about real estate, and I got some different characters. So one of them was a broker who doesn't actually list. His whole thing is, I just do off-market listings, pocket listings, as you say. So I was like, that could be a really interesting conversation. And then I also had on a matchmaker, Christiana Maxi, and I'll never forget her. She was my second episode. And our episode was, let's run the similarities between a matchmaker and a real estate agent. Because it's the same thing.
I saw that.
You're pairing someone with the person of their dreams or the house of their dreams. And I got on a real estate trainer. I got on a recruiter. I got on this Italian broker who's now running her own brokerage. At the time, she was a broker, who's tatted up from like full sleeve on her neck and her arms and everything. But she was like, this is okay in the Middle East. Like, people have this perception that tattoos aren't acceptable. So we just had like such varying conversations, but there was a real thirst for it, because a lot of I wasn't selling anything. I had nothing to sell at the time. I was just having conversations. So it was really refreshing to listen to a podcast where it's just people dropping bars, people dropping their golden nuggets. Yeah. And then I was like, right, need to start making money out of this. I'm going to start charging people to come on the show. Why not? And people paid. And then the more names that I got on, the more I could demand, So I started upping the price. Get on a big name, right, that's it. Price go up 20%. And it's probably doubled or tripled, actually, in the last
good work if you can
years.
Get it.
Yeah. So my prices have gone up by 300% in the past 2 years.
Wow.
And then I started reaching out to brand sponsors that wanted to be associated with the show, but not necessarily, just talk about themselves. So that's another avenue. So I've become like a billboard, essentially.
Yeah, definitely.
For people that want to have honest conversations about real estate. There's no hard sell. There's no set. It's just people, and the amount of people that I know have moved to Dubai as a result of being inspired by someone or something they heard on the show. And a lot of them have actually used it as like a training platform. So they'll just binge watch a few of we call them OGs of real estate, and they'll change their way of doing business. So it's a really useful conversation. Don't think anyone else is doing it the way I'm doing it. And I'm kind of like the Oprah Winfrey of real estate. Now, many people have said to me, oh, why don't you pivot and do like another industry? And it's like, I could, but I don't know anything as good as I know real estate. So I'm not going to go and have a show about, I don't know, the hospitality industry, because that's not I can't really have a full blown conversation about it. But real estate, money, I can have a conversation about.
Yeah. One of the things that I've heard a lot about young people going to Dubai to sell real estate. So this is comparables to what I see in the foreign exchange market in the UK. Also, maybe some other sorts of financial services sales, if you like. There is that that big promise of like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, to come in completely and utterly work your pipe off, for nothing, and then you might get something out of it. That is the
Dubai dream.
That's the rhetoric of a lot of FX companies in the UK, where they don't have great reputations for it. These sort of churn and burning staff. So, I mean, obviously, you see the way Synergy work now, and, it's all about supporting our staff and giving them the tools to do the job, etc. So, but I hear a lot of things about the real estate market, these young people coming over to Dubai, sold the dream, they're going over to commission only, and, and they're on a plane back in a week. I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'd say it's the new sales entry level for this generation. So back in our day, it was probably, selling advertising space, or what did we used to sell?
Well, I mean, I was 25, nearly 26 when I got into it. It was just selling straight FX, but it was very much, there was no one cold calling at the time. So, and we obviously we had business magnet, whatever. We used to go through and just do our lead lists and everything like that, and just cold call through. But it was all very much like boom, 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 boom. But yeah, tell me about how these youngsters are in Dubai.
The law is the possibility of making life-changing amount of money, not being taxed on it, and also having a whale of a time in the sunshine while you're doing it. So you just told me about the time that I called you when I was on the bus. It was probably no doubt raining.
It was raining.
And it was miserable. And I was like, I'm getting out of here. I need to go to Dubai. So I can understand that a lot of people here feel that way and just think, right, I'm going to just save enough to get me by for 6 months. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, I'll come back home. I've always got home. And a lot of them do make it. No, I'm not going to say a lot of them. I'd say a good percentage. By good, I mean like maybe 20%.
That high?
20% could survive and sustain themselves, but maybe 80% are going home within the first year. So there is a stat that generally most 86% of real estate agents fail within their first year. And I think that's the same in any kind of sales environment.
I would actually say, like in the current FX market, I don't think it's not even 20%. I think, with regards to the success rate of foreign exchange entry levels now. I mean, we are going to be getting Mitch Wells from FinTech Rec's going to be coming on soon. Really great guy. He is the go-to guy for any kind of recruitment in the FX space. Very honest and doesn't give you all the. I mean, some of the recruiters in this industry is ridiculous. I was going to name the same one on LinkedIn, but he actually sent messages around to our staff with his pitch on there saying that he's hearing that there's redundancies coming at Synergy Exchange, there's compliance issues, and, massively like really, really low ball. It's obviously some kind of bedroom broker, but obviously everyone, we're so transparent over it. I mean, you've met the team, right? We're all friends here. Everyone was so transparent.
But why has he said what he said?
Yeah, it's just a hook, isn't it? It's like trying to create some sort of doubt. But I mean, I'm
playing dirty.
Definitely looking forward to the chat with Mitch about the FX recruitment market, because that's going to be a very interesting one. However, I wouldn't say 20% of entry level FX business developers or everyone are making it at the moment, but it's this huge promise of like this golden pot of gold at the end of a rainbow if you go and make 300 calls a day, and if you say this, if you say and it's the market just isn't there. It just doesn't work like that anymore.
What would be considered making it in your first year in FX? Like, how much money would you have to make to be considered to have made it?
Okay, so that's a really
Let's talk numbers.
Well, it's an interesting one, really. So Synergy don't just do FX. So we tie FX into loans and a whole financial solution for our clients. The problem with selling straight FX now, the skill's been taken out of it, and everyone's just selling on rate. So you can start as an entry level FX developer or whatever, but on their title they're an FX specialist. Which they're not, and they're ringing up and they're just giving interbank exchange rates and saying you're going to get this forever, and that was the way it was done for a long time. And now people are saying we're going to give you risk management, but you're not allowed to give advice, but we're going to give you risk management services, and it's just putting lipstick on a pig, really. It's just selling flat rates, so that I wouldn't be able to tell you what that is anymore, really, because
take home.
Well, they're all just selling on price. But all I can sort of say is about how we work here, really, because we do things very differently to anyone else. For example, one of our developers that you met today, on her third month, she grossed about $9,000. So on a third month. So that, I would say that's pretty much unheard of. But remember, we're combining a whole solution. So there is multiple different revenue streams for people that work at Synergy. But fundamentally, it's not always about what you make, because if you're given a good solution and people come back and they use you and they tell other people about you, you're making money, but you're also saving their money, or you're giving them capital to grow their business. So, there's our staff are KPI'd on a number of things, It's not just about how much we take out of a client, So yeah, that's how we work. So month 3 for one of our members' staff, as I said, a $9,000 month, and it's actually growing.
So let's say, how does it work in your industry? Let's say she's built up a good enough relationship with these clients that grossed her $9,000 that month. If she goes on to another company, do you as Synergy retain that client, or is it because she's got the relationship with them she can?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So with how
do this for a living,
Well, yeah, it's been swept around now. But it's good. So when clients come on with Synergy, they're generally signing up to like a yearly contract with regards to a funding solution or whatever, and that comes with fixed forward contracts, etc., like that. So no, it's not as easy to just go and take clients. Obviously, there's,
because it's very easy in real estate to just not disappear.
I think the easiest way to avoid that happening is to make sure you train your staff well and you look after your staff and make sure your staff are happy, then you keep the staff and you don't really have that issue. We've had that issue a couple of times, but we haven't lost any bids from it. We literally haven't. But yeah, no, it's not really something we worry about with that. But obviously, like, everyone's got contracts. There's obviously, you've got a non-compete for 6 months, etc. But there's also different levels on how we do things here. So you might be a solutions executive where you're going and getting the client and making the introduction, but then it will go over to somebody else that actually structures that loan and liaises directly with the lender.
So it's a team effort.
It's not one person that does it all. So the client really is buying into the whole team and
the
ecosystem and the brand. So it wouldn't be as simple as someone just leaving and taking clients. But I'm really proud to say that I don't really come across that. But that doesn't mean to say that we don't get other companies and recruiters sliding into our staff's DMs on LinkedIn.
I can imagine, but you should take that as a compliment as well.
Absolutely, we do.
Then you're seen as a threat.
Oh, we absolutely do. Well, it's what, at Synergy, we don't worry about what everyone else is doing. We like to do what we do. We're happy with how we do it. We like the attention we get from our partners and people coming to us and clients coming to us. I think what I've found since getting more involved in the lending side of things is the culture. In the business finance culture, it's so productive and it's so cooperative. So other brokers work with other brokers, and lenders work with lenders. We work with them. We lend our own money. We underwrite our own deals. But sometimes we JV with another lender, or if it's not for us, we work partly with someone else who are happy to funnel the payments through the FX platforms that we have.
And what are you typically lending for?
But with FX, we would never, we never do, or is it really something that other FX brokers go and have dinner together or work together? It's kind of war out there, it seems, that, not that we wage it, but, it's definitely, it's very much, we can do better than them or whatever. It's quite childish, to be honest with you, the things that we hear. What was that question?
What you lend for? It's so funny, because I was thinking about this the other day, how if you lined up all my best friends and asked me what do they all do for a living, I couldn't quite describe it. Like, I know you're in FX, but you just started talking about lending. Like, so are you a bank? Are you a mortgage provider? Like, who are you lending and what are you lending?
So to be referred to as just an FX company now, even though there's some great companies out there, I definitely dispute that now.
Okay.
It's part of what we do. It's an integral part of what we do. But fundamentally, UK SMEs are our target market, and the high street banks and main banks, they let the UK SME down years ago. They don't lend to them. They're not interested in lending to them. They're not flexible, and they're not they're not structured to help small businesses grow. And the biggest problem that UK businesses have, whether they're importing or whatever they're doing, is cash flow these days, because people that they're selling to, there's this whole culture, and it's been for years, where they want time to pay. So, you're a business in, you've got stock in, you're going to sell it to, your customer. You have to give them 90 days to pay. Then if you're buying from China, you're not going to get those credit terms. You might get 30 days if you're lucky, but you're going to have to go to Inco terms, which means you're going to have to pay 20% up front. Then you have to pay the balance on bill of lading before it ships over.
So this what they call a bridging loan.
It's not a bridge. There's supplier payment finance or trade finance, whatever you want, or there's invoice purchase. The difference being is, where the problem is for the customer is he's got to wait 60 to 90 days to get paid from his customer, but he needs to buy more stock now. But he hasn't got his money in, because these people want to get paid up front. So what we do, we facilitate that capital so they can buy that stock, or we can release that capital if it's 90 days that they can get paid for. We can buy that invoice for an invoice finance facility and release up to 90% of that money to them now, so they can have working capital.
So what's the difference between that and a loan shark?
That and a loan shark, I don't know. I mean, I know the term loan shark, but I don't know anything about what their rates would be. I've seen some documentaries, no doubt, but it's funny because I would say the biggest sort of, not scam, but the thing is how loan facilities are dressed up sometimes. So we've got someone at the moment, it's only a small facility, and we've offered a revolving credit facility for supplier finance. It's a fledgling company, about 1.9% per 30 days. They can draw the money down. They only pay for what they draw down. It's all wrapped up in their FX. Lovely. I mean, it's so smooth, exactly what they need. But they look at the headline rate of, say, 1.9% per 30 days, and he's confused. He's never taken finance before, and he's dragging his heels. It's like, what's he should talk to me? Because I've been doing this a long time, and when you get terms out to someone, it's time to start onboarding, and they're dragging their heels. They've got questions. They could be, oh, I'm busy, this and that. No, they're unsure, and it's our job to not convince them, but to answer any questions that they have. It's a big decision. But then what I find is, what I don't like is when he has got something that he sees as comparable. And what it is, he says, well, I've got something that's 1.4% for 30 days. Now, where this business is in their life cycle, for a revolving credit supplier payment finance facility, that's not on the table. It doesn't exist for them. But they're looking at a headline rate, and I know exactly what that is. It's one of these, I'm not going to say the word because I don't want to get in trouble, but it's one of these facilities where you'll have a certain amount of money that you can have over a period of time, and you have to pay back a proportion every single month. And they put a headline rate of 1.4%. So if it's 100 grand over 4 months, and you're paying 25,000 each month, by the middle of the term, so month 2, you've repaid 50,000. On month 3, you're paying another 25, which is going to take you to 75,000 repaid. But the 1.4% is calculated on the 100 grand. So that's not 1.4%. It's delivered, and it makes it sound as if you're paying 1.4% per 30 days, but you're not, because 1.4% of 25 grand owed, well, it's 1,400 quid, isn't it? And that's not 1.4% of 25,000. So
100 ways to skin a cat.
Yeah, but that's what bothers me, because these are SME companies, and you have these headline rates with these huge alternative lenders that are spending God knows what they are on Google AdWords or whatever they do, and it's quite misleading. And I see it as our job to sort of not expose it, but to explain it properly. It's not to say that there's a place for this kind of facility, but so it's not trying to pull a wool over anyone's eyes. But the challenge is sometimes is when someone's new to taking on capital for growth, is that these products are framed in a way that is comparable to a really flexible revolving facility. So that's the challenge that we find. So a lot of the times what we have to do, we have to educate people, never advice, but it's educating them on what's out there, because fundamentally we need to get the message out, because we only get paid if they take a facility we give them. So that's, I would say that is the main thing we need to do, and but loan sharks, I don't know anything about that.
Okay. All right. So that's what you do. I just thought you were like FX.
Well, we tie the FX in. We'll tie the FX and we offer it as part of the solution. So if you've got a facility that you can draw down capital to pay your overseas supplier, say in China, it makes sense that you can do it all on one platform. You draw down the capital, you've got your FX wrapped into it, you send it all out. It's all one place, nice and clean. You don't have any third party, incoming payment problems or anything like that because there's different entities involved.
So are most of your clients here sending money out internationally, or they're bringing it in?
Most of our clients are in the UK. We do have some overseas clients that take on capital. We've got a lot of clients overseas that just do straight FX. The UK market for straight FX is it's very different to what it used to be. It's not buoyant anymore. You've got really big. You've got the likes of Revolut, Wise, and they have a fantastic product. I mean, they're great, but they're limited in what they can do with regards to other products. And the market is saturated with small little boutique foreign exchange brokers because of the white label market. Now, the white label market is probably one of the best things that's come into the market for the consumer because it's just flooded the market with loads more foreign exchange companies. They're not experts, as I said before. They might do the job for 6 months and then some of the liquidity providers don't do the right level of onboarding.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go off the cuff here, actually off the cuff, and I'm going to ask you a few quick fire questions off the top of my head. So how have you changed since you left the UK and you went to Dubai?
Good question. I have focused on my mental well-being, health.
You've lost a lot of weight.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not gonna.
I'm gonna be careful. Not gonna say too much. 'Cause I don't want you to punch me.
No. Like, I'm not gonna make out like, I've been killing it in the gym. I did have surgery to get it done, but yeah, I've kind of changed my lifestyle a lot.
You don't drink anymore, do you?
I don't drink anymore.
You're still no fun anymore.
No, and I'll admit it. Like, I'm no fun. I'm just quite happy at home.
We still had fun at the beach clubs.
Yes, yeah, with me and my latte.
Yeah, it's definitely much cheaper a night out.
Yeah, than it used to be. Gosh. So yeah, I'd say
that's the main thing.
Yeah.
How would you say I've changed in the last 17 years?
Not one bit.
Really?
Honestly, you haven't changed. I don't know if that's a bad thing. Is that a bad thing? No, you're true to.
I'll take that. I like that. No, I'll take that.
You always had your finger on the pulse. You know your stuff.
And having a baby.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I mean, it was always going to happen. It was always going to happen.
Well, you know what? That was definitely the best thing I ever did, was having Neve.
Yeah.
And who would have thought I'd been dad?
Actually, that's changed. You're a dad now. Has that changed you?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I've got my reason why is that, I mean, in all honesty, everyone comes to the city, right? I was working in electrical wholesale. And I'd worked my way up to a branch manager, and I thought, I'm cracking on, I'm doing well. And then, a few things happened, and I got to the point, I was like, I'm going to try something completely different. It was my sister that said to me, Terry, you can sell, like, you could be a stockbroker. It's like, me, a stockbroker? Like, I was only just about allowed to stay in school. I was a nightmare. But then I got a job as a junior stockbroker, but it wasn't, I did the first bit and I realised it wasn't a place for me. That was Wolf of Wall Street. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not doing this. And then I had a phone call from Jeff Matheson, who is, I think I put you on to Jeff, didn't I? He's in real estate now.
But isn't it funny how we always remember those first people that...
Well, I'm still close with him. Like, he was my mentor, and he still is in a lot of ways. And, I had a phone call from him, and that's how I got into foreign exchange. And, everyone comes up here because they want to make money, right? That's why people come up here. But you get to that point and you do well, and you find yourself financially free. And then you have to find a new reason why. And, when you're a bit older, I mean, I'm 46 now. I've been in the city a while. You've had all the big nights out, and you've had all the, I've eaten at every nice place there is to, and this, that, and the other. And you need you grow up a little bit. I finally grew up, and you need a reason why. And I did a LinkedIn post the other week. Like, I go out with Neve, and when I'm with her, I just look down at her, and that's my reason why. This is why I do everything now. Is her.
Oh, that's sweet.
You're going to meet her now you're over here.
Now that I live here.
Auntie Silvia.
Yeah, Auntie Silvia finally gets it. How old is she now?
She's going to be 3 in June.
Wow. So she could talk and everything.
She talks. Honestly, everybody likes to think, oh, my child is so advanced. But she is. She's so sassy. Like, I'll show you the video. Like, we were at Board Hill, and we like to go to a national trust. You know what I mean? Go to a bit of nature and a bit of walking around. And I was sitting there and she was telling me about her water bottle, and she's like, "Daddy, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Okay." She goes, "Listen." I was like, "All right, okay." Open it up, do it. I was like, "Crikey." She's definitely sassy, but I like that about her. Right, I think we're nearly done.
Okay. Any other quick fire questions?
Oh shit!
We were shit with that.
Yeah. Okay, quick fire questions. Another quick one. Oh, you've got me talking.
Well, let's be honest, they're not quick fire.
Yeah. Well, you get me talking about synergy and commercial finance, and my daughter. They're my two things. Maybe jiu-jitsu. Okay, so that's how I've changed. You've changed. Are you going back to Dubai?
I don't think so for the next 6 months at least. That's my kind of. I do life in 6-month blocks, so I can't see me. Anyway, I had planned to spend April, potentially May in UK anyway. And then I'm going to do New York in June, World Cup as well. That's still happening. And yeah, so I hadn't planned the summer, but I do like London in the summers. So I probably would have been here for the summer anyway.
Days out in Richmond. So that is my thing. So we're in that time, we're coming into that time of year now. All my meetings now will be in Richmond. And through until sort of like late summer and it's early autumn, still Richmond. And then it goes to maybe the city or Belgravia way. Boysdale, Belgravia, good for their lunch. Sylvia, honestly, I'm so glad you're back. I'm glad you're safe.
Thank you.
You know, you are a bit of a celeb in Dubai.
I am.
Especially in the property game.
Just need to build it up here now.
Check out the Golden Nuggets. A link will be below.
Thank you.
And I value you as my friend as well.
I might come to you for some money, actually.
We had
Now that I know that's what you do.
Is that a conflict of interest? No, absolutely. We got you. But
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sylvia.
Thank you for having me
Sylvia.
on this glorious day.
I know, we've got a bit of blue sky, so we filmed
did.
upstairs today. Okay.
All right. Thank you.